You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix.
Yeah, you're listening to R&J's Classic Mix, where they play the rock and roll and the country and the rockabilly. And or if you like the heavy metal with all the it's Friday Night Boogie. Everybody, get down.
The Ballad of John and Yoko, John Lennon and the Beatles. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. I'm Rockin' Randy, and of course with me, you know him well.
The amazing Moondog!
Alright, okay, thanks Moondog. Okay, we want to thank you faithful listeners that are tuning in right now. We have things on tap tonight. Like I say, we are featuring Alan Parsons. That's the spotlight, and we have some other things coming up. We have the news, we have the weather, and we even have a couple of movie reviews for you. So keep tuned, and we're going to keep the tunes going. So again, thank you for listening to R&J's Classic Mix. This Old Heart of Mine, Rod Stewart, Ron and Eiley on R&J's Classic Mix. I'm Rockin' Randy, along with me is
Moondog.
Moondog. I want to thank you for tuning in. As we mentioned before, our spotlight band, or person, is Alan Parsons tonight. And we've already dabbled into him at the beginning of this first set. We played a song off his first album with the Alan Parsons Project, Tales of Mystery and Imagination. And that was Orson Welles doing the lead off, and it was Dream Within a Dream and The Raven. Alan Parsons, for you don't know, he's an English audio engineer, musician, record producer, born way back in 1948. Oh, he's up there. Okay, but he packs a pretty impressive resume, Moondog.
Does he?
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's widely known for a series of albums, but this creative genius has worked with some of the best in rock and roll, including the Beatles, Pink Floyd, the Hollies.
I've heard of them.
You've heard of them, that's right. Okay, good. Way back in October of 1967, at only 18 years old, Parsons went to work as an assistant engineer at Abbey Road Studios.
Oh my God.
And guess who that Abbey Road Studios is famous for? You bet, the Beatles. He worked and got his first credits on Abbey Road and the Let It Be album. Now, the studio became a regular hangout for Parsons, and he worked with McCartney's Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway albums. He'd produced 5 albums by the Hollies. However, his first major success when he received a Grammy nomination, not the win, but the nomination for his contributions on Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Al Stewart, his big hit, You're the Cat. Well, Parsons was responsible for that. He turned that into a kind of a folksy song. He said, well, let's jazz it up a bit, put a saxophone in it, put in some drum percussion stuff, jazzed it up, and it became a #1 hit for Al Stewart. So now he also worked on a band called Pilot. That was their first album. Their big hit was Magic. You remember them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Another band lucky enough that Parsons was working with was Ambrosia, where Parsons picks up 2 more Grammy nominations for his mixing on their first and second albums. That's enough about Parsons for now. We're going to get back into the tunes. You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix.
All right, that was David Wilcox with Riverboat Fantasy. All right, so thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody. It's Friday Night Boogie on R&J's Classic Mix. And normally we do a little thing we like to call Philosophizing with Floyd, where you guys will ask us a question and we'll philosophize on it. But tonight we're going to change things up just a little bit. Since Alan Parsons is in the spotlight tonight, we're going to call it Pondering with Parsons. And we're going to ask you a question. So here it is. If you could have any superpower in the entire world or universe of superhero powers, what would you have and why would you have it? Anyway, here's another tune for you. This one's a request from Mama Moondog, Buddy Holly, Every Day.
And now, with the latest in news and weather, here's Norman Herman and Dr. Strangelove, only on the Mix.
Good evening. Norman Herman reporting. A bare-breasted woman wearing only bikini bottoms was caught vandalizing a Miami, Florida McDonald's restaurant. Sandra Soares, 41, became rude, violent, and destructive after refusing to wear clothing. She shoved cash registers to the floor and overturned a refreshment dispenser, causing $10,000 in damage. Soares was charged with felony criminal mischief and resisting arrest. A Texas jury swiftly convicted a Houston woman for beating a man to death with her 5.5-inch spiked stiletto shoe. Anna Trujillo, 45, said she was acting in self-defense when she picked up her shoe and stabbed 59-year-old University of Houston professor Stephen Anderson 24 times in the face and head. It took George less than 2 hours to return a conviction. In regional news, Belleville, Ontario Mayor Neil Ellis has declared a state of emergency due to rapidly rising water levels. A woman and her young daughter were rescued by firefighters using an inflatable raft along the Moira River. Levels on the river are expected to increase by 15 to 20 centimeters over the next 48 hours. And that's it for now. I'm Norman Herman, R&J's Classic Mix News.
Hello and good evening. It's your old friend Dr. Strangelove here, R&J's Classic Mix weather specialist. Alright, let's get straight to the weather. Starting in the west for tomorrow, we're expecting highs of 14 degrees in Victoria and Vancouver, both partly cloudy. Edmonton, 11 degrees, partly cloudy. Calgary, 7 degrees, not nice as 11, but well, it's getting closer. But they're having scattered showers. Saskatoon will be experiencing 4 degrees with showers. Regina, 7 degrees and overcast. Winnipeg, 1 degree but sunny. Here in lovely southeastern Ontario, Toronto will be experiencing 13 degrees Celsius and sunny conditions. Ottawa, 12 degrees and sunny. Montreal also 11 degrees and nice, sunny, warm. Some very good news on the East Coast, like we've been talking about on other weather reports here on R&J's Classic Mix. They have been experiencing some very chilly, snowy, sloppy conditions. But now, Fredericton, oh my goodness, 16 degrees and sunny skies. Isn't that very nice for you, East Coast? You had more winter than all of us put together, and now it's all happy sunshine and love. Well, good for you. That's all for now.
You're listening to R&J's Classic Mix with Rockin' Randy and
the Amazing Moondog.
And speaking of Alan Parsons, that is our spotlight band tonight. I'm going to give you a little more info on the famous Mr. Parsons. Now, back in 1975, after having some success with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, Floyd said, well, would you come and work on the Wish You Were Here album? Instead, Parsons turned it down. He teamed up with Eric Wilson, a fellow engineer from the Abbey Road studio days, and that's when they started the Alan Parsons Project. The project consisted of a revolving group of studio musicians, vocalists, most notably, I can't speak tonight, was the members of Pilot, and they worked on the first album along with the members of Ambrosia. Now, they did get a long-time lead singer, Lenny Zakatic, joined the band, and he was on there with them for 10 years. Now, Eric Wilson also did some vocals on some songs. Alan Parsons, he just stayed in the background doing the odd background vocal. Okay, other notable singers include Alan Clark. He was a former lead singer of the Hollies. Now, you know, Moondog, the Alan Parsons Project never did perform live during their heyday. They never did a live tour. No. Now, Parsons did do a live show in 1990 after they split up with Wilson, but Wilson did come to that concert and worked in the background. It was that same year that Parsons and Wilson, that was back in 1990, by the way, and Parsons and Wilson did decide to go their separate ways after releasing 10 albums together.
Wow.
Today, Parsons continues to produce albums to this day and tours the world with his band. I'll give you a little more info on Alan Parsons later on the show, but we're going to keep the music with you. This is R&J's Classic Mix, and we're going to go back. Actually, we're going to go way back.
It's Friday night, and the weekend's here. Welcome to R&J's Classic Mix with Rockin' Randy and the Amazing Moondog.
Now it's time for our weekly review section, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, with me, the Moondog. Alright, this week, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly sets its sights on Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Marvel Studios' latest release starring the Star-Spangled Avenger. Now, I was a fan of the first Captain America movie, and it had a real nostalgic blend of World War II action and superheroics. Gotta admit, though, I was totally blown away by this follow-up. Without spilling the beans, I can tell you this adventure finds Cap up against a mysterious new enemy. He's a Russian cyborg known as the Winter Soldier. There are secrets coming to light that could break apart the security force known as S.H.I.E.L.D., and Cap himself has to conquer his own doubts in himself and what he stands for in the 21st century he finds himself in. So, here's what's good.
I think this time around, Marvel finally captured the right mix of story, character development, and the zappity-pow-kaboom action scenes. It's one part superhero, one part Tom Clancy spy thriller, and even one part Hitchcockian whodunit, with Cap and the Black Widow framed for a crime they didn't commit and seeking the truth. Alright, what's bad about Captain America the Winter Soldier? Honestly, not a heck of a lot. So this time I'll say, BAD stands for badass. And that means Samuel L. Jackson. Jackson's performance as S.H.I.E.L.D. director Nick Fury always bang on in every movie he's done so far, and he's even better in this one. And we get to learn a lot more about the chief spy of S.H.I.E.L.D. I used to think the Batmobile was a pretty sweet ride until I saw Fury's SUV. Gotta get one of those. Lastly, that brings us to The Ugly. And it's a real minor thing, really. I watched this movie in IMAX 3D, and I'm not sure if it just took a while for my eyes to get adjusted or if there was some kind of technical flaw, but near the beginning of the film there's an action scene that's shot in really low light conditions at nighttime, but the majority of the film takes place in daylight. I didn't see the blurring again. Either way, that's a bonus. Well, that's it for this week, so do yourself a favor. Go check out Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Listening to R&J's classic mix reminds me of an old Klingon proverb. Yod hum cheese customus funky chok choo, which roughly translated means play that funky music, white boy.
You're listening to Friday Night Boogie.
R&J's classic mix.
And now for something completely different. You're listening to RJ's Classic Mix. That was Alan Parsons, our spotlight gentleman tonight. Just a little more info on Alan Parsons. Any Alan Parsons fans out there, as you were maybe aware that all of his albums were based on themes. For example, the first album they produced was Tales of Mystery and Imagination. Sit around the words of Edgar Allan Poe, that's right. That's Quoth the Raven, stuff like that. Yeah. Their second album, I, Robot. The scientific work. Isaac Asimov was their, I guess you say, gesture for that, or anyway. So like I said, so it went on to, and then they did another Pyramid, was in tune with the Pyramid craze of the early '80s. Their fourth Eve paid tribute to love, and that was a friendly card which focused on gambling, things like that. Okay, but anyway, you're listening to R&J's Classic Mix. We're going to continue with music. This is Albert Hammond, the Free Electric Band. That was Albert Hammond, the Free Electric Band. You're listening to RJ's Classic Mix. RJ's Classic Mix. I'm Rockin' Randy, and I'm with the amazing Moondog. Now, Moondog, remember before we kind of threw out a thing there with your idea of with Parsons Night, where the people asked, we threw out the questions of the people, and they answered back. Well, we got some good answers. Some bizarre superpowers out there. But now we have a listener out there that's asking what we want to be. So what would your superpower be? What do you want?
Well, I'm with one of our chatters tonight, Ty. I'm totally behind the flying thing because, Christopher Reeve made that look so cool. I like the new Superman movie, but I'm sorry, Christopher Reeve is the man for me. I'd like to fly.
Fly where?
Here, there, everywhere, up high.
Okay, is that the only power you want, just to be able to fly? Like, what if you hit the ground or something like that? And you get the power. Like, if you're flying up there and there's nothing happening, you know what I mean?
Well, maybe if I could fly and have like X-ray vision, that'd be kind of cool. I could fly around and like, hey, what's happening there? What's happening over there? What's happening over here?
Okay, good. Okay, well, thanks for the feedback. Okay, and I want it all. I want all the powers because then nothing can hurt you, right? You can fly, you can hit the ground and bounce back up and everything. I want it all. I want it all. Just like Queen says, I want it all. RJ's Classic Mix.